Hey everybody, it's Professor Williams, and we're going to look at calculating an implied purchase price and then determining how much of that purchase price is goodwill. So Interbanks Homes is considering acquiring Mitchell Inc. So to assess the amount it might be willing to pay, we've got some computations and assumptions. First, the normal rate of return on net assets for the industry is 15%. They've identified Mitchell's assets and liabilities, and the remaining lives of the assets are approximately equal to those used by Mitchell. So we have a little over 15 million in assets, 8.8 million in liabilities. And then for the office equipment, the fair value is equal to book. For buildings, the fair value is 30% higher than book. And for the land, the fair value is 75% higher than book. Interbanks believes that an average of the pre-tax earnings of Mitchell is a fair estimate of annual earnings for the indefinite future. The indefinite future is important because that allows us to take the adjusted annual earnings and treat them as a perpetuity. We have annual depreciation on the buildings, depreciation on the equipment. In 2024, Mitchell incurred an extraordinary loss, and they pay a little over $250,000 a year in sales commission. Interbanks feels like it needs to earn a 25% return on its investment, and it's going to determine goodwill by capitalizing excess earnings. For the purpose of this problem, we're going to ignore tax effects. We're going to begin by determining net assets for similar firms. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to take our target's assets minus their liabilities. And we're told that the rate of return for the industry is 15%. So I'm going to take those net assets and I'm going to multiply them by that 15% rate of return. And that gives me net assets for similar firms. Now I'm going to determine the expected income of the target, and that's simply the average. So we have the pre-tax income, but we're going to have to make an adjustment for the additional depreciation on the buildings. So in order to do that, we're going to take the depreciation on the buildings, and we were told that was 30%, and that's going to give me $289,320 in additional depreciation that I'm going to have to subtract from my pre-tax income. So for 2022, that's going to give me the 913. 2023, we're going to make the same adjustment. So I'm going to take pre-tax income minus additional depreciation. And in 2024, I'm going to subtract out the additional depreciation, but they had an extraordinary loss of $301,000, and I'm going to add that back in. So to get the target income for 2024, I'm going to take pre-tax income minus the additional depreciation plus that extraordinary loss. Now, I'm going to just determine what my 3-year adjusted net earnings are. And I'm going to take the 3-year average. So I'm simply going to take the 3-year total divided by 3 is going to give me $1,029,880. The next part is we have to determine excess earnings, which is going to be goodwill. So in order to do that, we're going to take the net assets of similar firms, and the difference between that and our 3-year average. So I'm going to take our 3-year average minus the net assets for similar firms. And I'm going to capitalize that. And the way I'm going to capitalize it, so remember we said this was an indefinite future. So we're going to take excess earnings and we're going to treat it as a perpetuity and divide it by interbank's required return on investment of 25%. That gives me $398,920. And this $398,920 is our goodwill. So the implied offering price is going to be assets minus liabilities plus our goodwill. That's going to give us an implied offering price of $6,599,920. I hope this helped, and thanks for watching.